reports today that lawyers for Nat Fyfe are examining the possibility of legal action to make him, or open the way for him to be eligible for Brownlow. What's your reaction to that?
I sort of heard, I think it was on the Footy Show last night. Sounds odd to me. I don't think the club know anything about it, and sounds tenuous.
Well, you wouldn't be keen on sort of legal challenges to the rules in that sense. Well, you wouldn't be keen on legal challenges to the rules either.
I'm very sceptical. I mean, there's all these. You hear lots of rumours. We'll see. I'm very sceptical that would happen.
Okay. Earlier this week, David Gelbley said Reece Conca should have been charged by police for hitting the GWS player from behind. Danny Green, I was just speaking to a moment ago, who is a footy fan, but he's he's a face of the One Punch campaign. He says Conca's shot was cheap. The AFL's response was cheaper. Was 2 weeks enough?
I don't want to pass comment on the amount of weeks. What I will say is that I thought that was an appalling act. I feel that the match review panel was constrained by it, and we came out yesterday and talked about the fact that Mark Evans is trying to make amendments to deal with, to improve and evolve it, such the things that feel inconsistent or issues that or outcomes that we don't like generally, as a gut feel is wrong, are amended. Now, I'm not sure his amendments would pick up this one. I think probably the right outcome here was to put this straight to the tribunal, because, if you look at the rules, the application in this case was right of the MRP, but when you've got a guy out of anger running after a guy and hitting him from behind, he wasn't aware of it. I just think it's a terrible, terrible act, and I understand Danny Green's comments.
Is there anything further can be done about it, or does it have to rest there?
I think it rests there, but the MRP look at there's 3 tests they go through, and the fact that there was no injury was critical. In fact, he got 2 weeks. I think the MRP, the tribunal will be best placed to actually look at the intent and look at the issue and have more subjectivity to what actually happened there, where the guy was unaware and the guy in anger had gone at him. And I think that potentially we've got a different outcome if we'd gone to the tribunal.
And it's not possible for the Commission to intervene now and say he's brought the game into disrepute or something equal?
I think we've done run and won this one, Neil, but I do think we need to learn from it here and actually make you understand what could have been done better if we feel that an outcome is not quite right.
Yeah, I guess it's a highly unusual. I can't remember seeing anything like it before, but you were saying if it happened again, you would hope there'd be a stronger reaction?
I would hope, and I've spoken to Mark Evans about this, that this would go, and I've actually spoken to the MRP and walked through it. I would hope that they would send this one straight to the tribunal, where you can have more subjectivity in the assessment and actually contextualise it better than the MRP are able to do.
Okay. What are the changes you're planning to the match review panel?
Well, Mark's got a range of them. It's about evolving it and making it better and trying to deal with some of those things we look at as football followers and go, that just doesn't feel right. And Mark feels that he can come up with a series of amendments which would probably improve a lot of those. And they're things like, taking away carryover points, those sort of issues at the lower end, minor infractions we generally don't feel people should lose games for, bring in fines rather than suspension. So
fines which the player would have to pay, hopefully, not the club.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, how big would the fines be?
I don't know.
Too early.
Yeah.
Just quickly, we've had a call off air about that caller who told us about a crash on the South Gippsland Highway. It's looking like a very bad one. Another one. We'll bring you some details on that as we can. If it wasn't for the World Cup cricket, which is occupying the MCG, would we have had Good Friday football this year?
We should be playing Good Friday. There is like our community, the people who make this decision are divided. So contextual in that, when we are starting at Easter and this fixturing of other games, it was determined not to go ahead, and we'll go through the same process next year.
Rob, go ahead, please.
Yeah, g'day. Look, I just had a bit of a thought then. I thought, hang on, I take my niece. I'm taking my niece at the moment. She's only 3.5. But I used to love going to the footy and just I know I took the yellow pages and ripped them up, which Mum and Dad weren't happy with. But throwing streamers when they kicked a goal, I thought if we had one round where we could do it and, sort of maybe buy the streamers off a charity or, like the Sadie Foundation.
Bring back the streamers.
Just one round, because obviously it's going to make a mess for every round. But it was such a great thing to throw him when you kicked a goal.
That's a good point. What do you think?
Well, streamers, colour. I mean, that's what we love and associate with the footy, and I think anything that's colour and movement and passion and tribalism, I think is a good thing.
But they were banned, weren't they, because of the number of times the fullback was tripping over the streamers?
I think they were getting wrapped around the ankles and sort of unable to kick out from fullback. But I think as long as it's sensible, ideas about sort of colour and movement are great. Not sensible, but practical, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. What about, has an arrangement been reached with Essendon over the health monitoring of players?
Yeah, it has. So I think that's starting next week. So they've bedded down those arrangements, and that'll be kicking off. If it didn't kick off this week, it's next week.
So the tests will actually be carried out? Yeah,
there's a proper process being worked through with the club, led by Peter Harcourt, and it's an appropriate response.
What are the tests, do you know?
Well, it's a monitoring of their health. It's a regular series of checks and benchmarking and others to basically have a baseline and an ongoing review of their health.
I was talking to Senator Nick Xenophon earlier in the week about his campaigning to have advertisements played at the Adelaide Oval asking for donations for children affected at Gaza. Why not?
We've got a blanket policy on advertising. You can imagine there's so many different angles to this about not taking advertising that could be deemed to be political. We just stay out of it. We run a sport. I think
How's it deemed to be political, though? We're talking about kids who need help.
Yeah, it was the reference to Palestine and Gaza, and the context of, it was, I think, whatever the words were, save Palestine or save Gaza, donate now. And I think, Neil, the fact that there's been so much commentary and be comment by Israeli lobby groups and others, and we're talking on radio, I think by definition it is political, and I think that's the point.
Hello, Mark. Go ahead, please, Mark.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Okay.
Gillon, I played footy against you a long time ago. You're not a bad footy player. Pretty fair.
Who did you play for, Mark?
I played for Old Haileybury.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Did you belt him?
No, he's a bit taller than me, mate. He was a bit quick when he was young, actually.
I got knocked out against Haileybury for a long time. Were you in that game?
No, it wasn't me, mate. I would have helped you up. I would have put my hand up and said, I don't know who did that up. Hey, mate, I've watched the footy all my life. I'm a St Kilda supporter. And to all the St Kilda supporters out there, if we ever win a grand final, I think there'll be pissed people everywhere.
Right. Thanks very much for that, Mark. Yeah. And was that the point, or do you have a question?
No, I've got a question. I thought you were cutting me off. Look, mate, I haven't been to the footy for 4 years because I've had it, mate. When I go to the footy, it's never on the same time. Mm-hmm. It's always different times. Now, I've got kids. I can't take them to the footy at 4:40 on a Sunday arvo. Mm-hmm. And I used to say to the kids that it used to be great. You'd listen to the footy and they go round the ground, and it was just a real exciting part of the day. Listen to the footy on Saturday arvo, going, Carlton going to win by more than 10 points because if they do, they're above us. And everyone.
Mark, relax. Your point is the scheduling, is it?
Yeah, scheduling's no good.
Okay.
Mark, I said it yesterday, I've been saying consistently, we need to get more, to use the word consistency in our fixture, if that's your point. I don't know we're going to get to the point where we have all Saturday afternoon games again, but, I hear you. We have a clear agenda to get consistency and a focus on what the attendees want in our fixture for next year. We don't think we'll be able to deliver everything everyone wants, but that's our focus, and I hear you.
Hello, Russell. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Gil. G'day, Neil. Gil, I really think you've got to get tough with Reece Conca. I think you've got to restore faith in the AFL. There's a lot of public dissent about this Conca incident, and I think the AFL are weak about this, and I think you've got to make a stand and restore some public confidence.
Well, I don't disagree that I hated it as well. I've talked to the MRP, I've gone through the system, I've talked with Mark. It should have gone to the tribunal so we can get some subjectivity. And this is the issue. And Mark is reviewing the MRP. We get out. There's a lot of good in this system, but at the moment we're getting outcomes we don't like. There's one or two every week for different reasons. And I, like you, hated this incident. I think I described it as I think it's an appalling act that, in Danny Green's words, if it hit him the wrong way, it could have had catastrophic effect. So I'm with you. It's just how you deal with that in a system that is tried to put consistency in there with limited leg room for the MRP, and it should have gone to the tribunal. I think that actually could have dealt with it better.
Okay, can you explain to me the luxury tax and how much? I know Hawthorn was saying could cost them millions. You say it won't. How does it work?
Well, it basically is a threshold set, which is at $9.3 million, which is the average amount of non-player footy spend this year at $500,000. If you choose to pay over that, then you pay a taxation rate for every dollar you spend over it. Yesterday, talking with the CEOs, is forecasting 2 or 3 clubs would be over it for next year only. And I think Hawthorn have come out and clarified, and I think maybe Andrew's clarified, Hawthorn's estimate for next year is they would be paying a tax of $100,000 where they would be. No, I think it was just, I don't know where the confusion came from, but that is very clear.
And what happens to the tax you collect? Where does that go?
That goes into the pot and redistributed to the clubs below the line.
So they'd be the lower clubs, presumably.
That's part of the competitive balance situation.
Yeah, all right. How'd you go with the CEOs? New style, I hear. New broom, new consultative, not dictator Andrew.
A lot of hugging, a lot of loving. We held hands.
Didn't Andrew hug them?
He hugged them, but just more aggressively than me.
He hugged them to break their arm. Who knocked you out when you're playing footy?
I was an accident. It was a guy running across. I got scar on my chin for that. But it was. I do remember Haileybury well because of that. I was out for some time.
How long were you out?
20 odd minutes.
Oh, that's pretty nasty.
Mm,
Were you hospitalised?
Yeah.
Play the next week?
Stupidly, yes. I do remember that. Yeah, I did. We had to make the finals. I didn't do anything. I was terrified.
Different.
They shouldn't have played me.
Different days. And you'll be glad to see Andrew Mitchell's got a job at Crown. Your future is assured once you finish.
I've applied for a gold card.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, Neil.
Gillon McLachlan, Chief Executive of the AFL.